offering. Okay. Everyone take a deep cleansing breath as we said at prayer camp.
I don't see you.
And we can take off your filters, and we are going to offerings, and Sherry Dratfield will start us off with her own and then with Goldalee's. Let me share my screen and get to Psalm 17 offerings. Here we are. Sherry Dratfield, are you ready to go?
Okay, I'm off mute. My husband's coaching me. Cradle, inspired by Psalm 17. No notes, sound silenced. You visit me at night. The hush of nothing to distract, lure, crave, seek. Nothing poised to pounce, no appetites thirst to quench, erotic swirls, empty of all. Like infancy, legs tucked under, not yet unraveled, strong and straightened, striding some path. Silence shelters me all night, tucks me under its wing. No need for the lullaby, no need for the cry, no need. I wake like the pupil, empty, black, a hole. Light streams through, each appearing in the other's eye. One face faces mine, fills me with vision, vistas, morning.
Sherry, is that supposed to be a comma or a period at the very end?
A period.
Okay.
Wow. Talk to us, Sherry.
Okay. Well, a couple of the translations had you visit me at night, and I have a newborn granddaughter, and she sleeps all the time. And it's sleep, it's the nothingness that allows her to grow, and will help her to be.
Wow.
So this takes the imagery and structure of Psalm 7, but describes a different journey. Both begin with the visitation at night, describe a sense of being guarded. It references threats, and finally the awakening to behold the face of the divine. And where Psalm 17's visitation is like a test. I have to do this, I have to do that, I am this, I am that. Cradle, it's a soothing, protecting presence, and both use the imagery of the protective wing. But in Cradle, the threats are only theoretical. And at the turning point where we seek God's help to eradicate all of the wickedness, Cradle's parallel shifts to, I wake.
Like, oh, nice. That's so nice.
And they both end with a revelation. And for me, this beholding God's face, or beholding your lover's face, John Donne wrote the most exquisite love poem ever called The Good Morrow. And one of the lines and one of the images, the most amazing images, my face in thine eye, thine in mine appears.
Wow.
And this idea of a pupil, which is, I looked it up, it's a black hole. It's black, it's empty. And then light filters through. It was revelatory for me.
Wow, beautiful, beautiful. Very powerful and very different than some of the other things you've written. This has a certain energy to it that is, feels very influenced by a new baby. But this one face faces mine, which also beautifully refers back to one thing I pointed out about this psalm, and is actually, typical in psalms. This psalm is very kind of heavy in it, is using the phrase lifnei or milifnei or pane as a way of saying in front of, but it really is about being in relationship to somebody's face, my face, your face, God's face. So in front of is bigger than, it's really about one face faces mine. It's really not just the we lose that when we just translate lifnei as in front of, which it's how it is used all the time. but to focus again, this psalm uses, I think we counted 4 or 5 times that phrase is used. So to have that in your translation to echo back to that is really beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Really beautiful.
Thank you.
If you will stay on, Sherry, to read Goldalise.
This is Goldalie's voice. Beside myself. A Psalm 17 haiku. Here justice hurts first. Then press your ear to lips' prayers, our weeping attempts. Please, my body parts, only whole when beheld by, oh, to be held by you, my nightlight, fire, scrub, love, my consciousness clean. I fail, fall, regress. The noise of neighbors' invasive rage should not stir me so, but how not? Help me mind my legs. You hold their feet to your fire. Shh. Give way to sleep. Worry called to prayer. You answer as best you can, given the static. Your miracles are clouded. Senseless suffering shrouds your faithful love. May I, your pupil, be worthwise to your eyes. You, Talus, cuddle me. Hush, noise slamming din. Unhappy energy tempts, drowns out your shelter. When
No,
unconscious
technically it isn't,
shouts pierce, stifle
because
heart's true thoughts, breath, unkindness remains. Encroaching despair, starved for friends, swoops down, greedy like Auschwitz searchlights. No Lion of Judah guards Shul's safe mezuzah door. Floats, shields,
Wow.
protects, snores. Awake, reign in me, turn mind's sharp sword to soft words of praise, not pray sounds. Gift breath, not death. Fill lungs from your joy's kiss. We'll feast on your gladness. Held by your love's face, embraced, may I behold you ever beside me.
Wow. It's a little hard to read. Is it? I know that's a longer one, so you have a smaller, Harold, but it's, yeah. This, so I love the opening that you have here. Are you with us today, Sherry? First of all, thank you for your reading. You're our pinch
Yes.
hitter reader.
Yes. Good morning. Thank you, Sherry. Thank you, Rabbi.
So speak to us. Tell us about writing this from Psalm 17.
Well, first of all, thank you. This is so wonderful to always have Sherry read, and it's so wild that she just shared her poem and then the poem that she referred to, which I do not know. I was very I wanted to write from the Sepharia because it was the one that was the most challenging for me. So I did it for the first time, verse by verse.
And what was that like for you?
I always find forms actually freeing rather than the opposite. But of course, everything's informed by everything, right? Because of our discussion and reading, and I'm always frustrated, feeling like I'm not expressing. But then at the end, I feel a sense of completion. So it's always lovely to hear it, because I get so nervous that I can't even breathe. And Sherry's reading it. But the idea of the face, it was, there's so much, but it's, I hope that you all received some of my intention. And I'm especially moved today because actually my wife is here from San Diego and she hasn't been with us for about a year. So I didn't even realize it because I'm on the phone, but when I was hearing it, I was realizing that, I don't see your faces and you don't see mine, and I haven't seen my wives in so long. And so just this idea of notion that God is always there, sees everything, it really keeps me afloat. And so I suppose that came through in the poem.
Well, great. Thank you. It's beautiful. And I am so happy that you are being able to be together now. That's fantastic.
Well, we're not, but we're together right now. So
Yep, I know, but I mean right now. Okay, great. Well, thank you so much. It's a little hard to hear. I'm not sure if the sound is, there's some kind of echo or something. I'm not sure if it's just me.
All right, let's take a moment of breath to take in Goldalie's beautiful offering. Allison is not with us this morning. She's with her mother, which brings us to Peter Klein, and Alba for Yehuda Halevi.
Okay, there are actually two parts to this. Good morning, everyone. The Alba is a morning song, and the complement, the diptych, is a compline for heretics. It's both from Psalm 17. So here we go. I reach for you as would a lover across the morning bed, and embrace your comfort as it restores my soul. But as the sun burns off the morning's prayers, your words dissolve from my tongue, and I walk into the world, my voice already given to tiny lies, my enemies, my own. Copla. If each step is a blessing, why the path to you can't I retrace? As naked from my troubled sleep, why only then do we embrace? The angel here beside me is stranger to my bed. I reach for you at morning, a stranger in my bed. Compline for heretics. This prison flesh keeps house for beasts, those fears and worse, and beggars feed me gleanings as stale as last year's verse. But morning brings new waters to cleanse, refresh, and soothe, and my body becomes a palace that prayer restores anew. This poet stutters, a catalog of failed campaigns for love and fame, for words triumphant over misery, rewriting yet another history that may be true, but lips are for prayer and falsehoods, one easier than the next. Virtues craft both in a single word, deceptions so keen, not even he can say where one begins and the other lies. Arrested. His cries answer another's unforgotten, unforgiving prayer. Is this religion? An opportune lie, born without faith? But this, my Psalter, me absolve, that I may sing thee true with words ignited in firestorms from enemies, my children, my home. A book still written, a quill ready and firm, last words before waking, last words.
Wow. Wow. So tell us, and tell us what some of these words are that we don't know.
An alba is a morning song, usually illicit, somewhat erotic, as if two lovers are parting at daybreak, sort of like Romeo and Juliet hiding in the light. Mm-hmm. This was a form popular with the early troubadours from Provence, Occitan, and it's in honor of Yehuda Halevi because in mystical poetry, whether you're looking at Song of Songs or whatever, the idea that erotic love is also spiritual. Mm-hmm. And a copla is actually a al-Andalus dance. So I go in and out of rhymed couplets, something I never, ever write, but somehow or other it happened. Compline is the last service of the canonical hours, the hours that the Benedictine and other monks would observe. Every set of hours there is a service in which there are psalms, prayers, confessions, and readings, very modeled directly after the Jewish services of the day. And Compline is the last one. And this one brings us full circle, because after Compline, you shut up until dawn or until the morning service. And this one wrestles with all the fears of the day.
Mhm.
So it's interesting, today we're reading love songs, and I'm amazed that the three of us have come upon wrestling with these things. It's really quite beautiful to be among this group of
Yeah.
writers.
And I just, yeah, this is really beautiful. And is this religion an opportune lie born without faith? But this my psalter me absolve, that I may sing thee true, with words ignited in firestorms, from enemies, my children, my home, a book still written, a quill ready and firm, last words before waking. Last words. Spectacular, Peter. Really spectacular.
The first one, Alba, was pretty easy. I won't say it's easy to write, but it came more naturally.
Huh?
And it came directly out of 17 and the discussion of Yehuda Levi, who's one of my heroes.
Wasn't that a great digression from a psalm to?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, but it makes perfect sense to go into this
Huh?
form. But I realized that if that's the beginning of the day, Compline is the end. And it's a struggle to get through the day. I mean,
Yeah.
because we may say our first prayers on waking, and then we immediately go and blow it in probably in the first few hours of the day that we begin, you know, saying disreputable things, thinking inappropriate thoughts. And how do you come back? How do you make your final confession of the day and say, please give me back my soul? Or what have I done with my soul? So that's where it came from.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you, Peter.
You're welcome.
What a delicious contribution today. Thank you.
You're welcome.
A little breath to take in Peter's beautiful offering before we scroll down to Lori.
Okay, a little different from Peter's. To anyone who will listen, hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. What? Are we all monkeys? Do we have to do all that just to be heard, to be seen, to be loved? I am who I am. Isn't that what you always say? Why can't I just be? I thought love was supposed to be unconditional, without restrictions, no strings attached. Do I need to use all available parts to get your attention? My mouth, my lips, my eyes, my ears, my face, my feet, my mind, my belly, my heart. Hiding in your shadow under your wings. That doesn't feel right. Pleading for your protection, rescue. That doesn't feel right either. Sitting in silence with covered ears, eyes, mouth. No, that doesn't work at all. So how about uncovering everything? Sitting naked with eyes wide open, mind empty, breathing in the stillness and power of the moment. That could work.
Beautiful. And I just love what you've captured, what Yael first pointed out, which is one of the very dominant features of this psalm, is how many body parts are here. So just to put them all out there like that is such a great way to uncover it, as you are talking about, and to just put them all there. Right. I really love it. I am who I am. Isn't that what you always say? And that kind of whimsy, irreverence is very Jewish. Jewish prayer isn't all reverent, isn't all at peace with God. It's full of irreverence. It's full of anger sometimes, which I've seen a lot in various personal psalms that all of you have offered, which is totally appropriate, because being in relationship with God means going through what real relationships go through, which is ups and downs, closeness, distance, anger, a little flirtatiousness, or a little whimsy. All of these things are totally appropriate. And we tend to feel like it always has to be very serious in that, and it doesn't. And just, just kind of, questioning, but in that questioning mode, to be in different levels of, from just questioning to angry and denouncing, all within profound Jewish tradition of expressing relationship with God. So thank you, Lori. So great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lori.
There are a few particular writers that we have in our tradition who are known for writing very angry or very fed up, so from some of the very famous rabbis, very fed up prayers to God. So you're in good Jewish tradition, come on already, just,
Right.
come on already. I love it. So really great.
Thanks.
A little breath to appreciate Lori's offering. And is Jeremy with us today? Jeremy, if you're here, please unmute yourself.
He's not here.
He's not here. Okay. We will move along then to, we did Dorothy yesterday, I believe. And Sue, I'm sorry, Sue, is it Myers or Mears?
It's Myers.
Myers.
Okay. I wrote a wedding vow.
Great.
My love, I am taking this chance to speak to you from my heart with all of our friends and family as witnesses. The only judgment I care about is the one in your eyes. You know me body and mind, my honest true self. And after bad times and good, here you stand. Though I am not perfect, I am at my best because of you. Because of the example you set and knowing your hands are always there to hold me up. I can and do rely on you as the rock on which I stand. You are a force in your ability to defend me with love and kindness, to keep me safe and close in your heart, and protect me from anyone who would cast a shadow on us. But there are people who would say and do hurtful things and many dangers to our happy life that will surely spring up along the way. With you by my side, we can overcome any obstacle. Together, we will build a happy life for ourselves and our family. And every day, the sight of your face will fill me with love.
Wow, this is such an interesting structure and direction. Tell us about doing this.
From first reading this psalm, it felt very romantic to me. And that put me in mind of nuns, with the idea of nuns being wedded to, I don't know if they're wedded to God or Jesus, because I don't really know anything about nuns, so I didn't want to write about that.
Right.
But it just put me in this frame of mind of thinking about wedding vows. Because I was straying so far from the spirit of the psalm, I tried to keep as close as I could structurally to the psalm itself. So each line is as close as I could mirror and make it a wedding vow instead of a psalm.
I honestly don't think it's so far from the spirit. It's creative, it's unique, it's not but the idea of a love song to God is not so far off. And to put it in the context of a wedding vow, I think is very, very creative. And, there's a traditional image, and especially in Kabbalistic, but not only, even just in general rabbinic literature, but really takes off in Kabbalistic literature, is that the people of Israel are married to God. Like that is considered I wouldn't say it goes as much into the individual, but I love this. And that's both very strong, but also problematic, right? Because in rabbinic thought, the people of Israel are the female, and therefore God is the male. And guess which one is dominant? If one is going to be God and one is going to be humans. So that actually carries over into the human sphere, which obviously is problematic. But all of those problematic issues aside, the idea of a love relationship with God, and listen, Yedid Nefesh, which we sing often at the beginning of Shabbat, is a song, it's of love to God. So this is fantastic. And I think it's a very small step into a wedding vow, but it's creative enough that it makes us think, wow, and that's that's an interesting take. Thank you. Beautiful.
You.
Wow. Thank you so much, Sue.
And maybe this is why so many relationships, have a struggle so much, because this is what we want, right? We want this kind of level of perfect love and protection. Beautiful. Thank you.
And on to Marilyn.
Okay, I figured out the filters, just by the way. Psalm 17. Dear God, my deliverer and protector, I know you see me and know my goodness. You hear my heart singing, and you see my heart crying for what is lost. Some hide from me in anger, but you send signs of your attention. You call my name with the voice of new friends by the water's edge. Your sunshine lights my way. I know you are carrying me as I sink in the sand and stumble along the way. Your still small voice reminds me of my faith in you, shading me and forever protecting me. Carrying your promise of what lies ahead, the heavens will open up. Then your light will shine on me as you remove my mask and hug me at last.
Wow, I love the reference to mask, both obviously the time we're in and Purim arriving, but talk to us, Marilyn. This is beautiful.
All right, so I just want to say that writing the first Psalm whenever it was, 2 weeks ago, felt like the initiation into this class. And now I feel like I'm part of the class. And I feel like the Psalms are like a projective. Like you look at them, I look at them and I say, who am I? It's all about me, of course, like an ink blot. So everybody sees what they see. So it feels a little repetitive, like the same, almost like a continuation of the story from the last Psalm for me. And what's going on is, you all know I'm in Florida and I've been walking every day, either on the beach or on the boardwalk, and meeting new friends, meeting new people that I want to call friends, and also having some old friends not be so happy with me, and because I've been so needy and whatever, I'm not perfect. And without a partner to kind of, I don't know what the word is, buffer me from everything else, I have my sharp edges that offend people. And anyway, enough about that. But basically, I was walking. So when I noticed all the body parts, of course. When I was walking on the boardwalk the other day, I thought, as I was singing, I thought, God is hearing me singing, but God is also hearing me crying. Like in one breath, it can change from singing to crying. And this is what I came up with.
Muted. It's beautiful. And what you say is absolutely right on, and that's what we've been exploring in this class. And I'm so glad you have joined it, Marilyn, that each of these Psalms written 2,500 years ago can become a prism through which we see our lives. And the more we say them and the more we develop a relationship with them, it changes, right? So right now, in the moment in your life, this is what this Psalm is speaking to you because of all of the things that you described. Next year, if you were to come back to the Psalm, it'll be layered because it'll have the layer of the writing of the Psalm, but then it'll have the layer of what you wrote this year. And then it'll have the layer of the human being you are next year or next week or next month. And that is the power of it. The Psalm itself stays steady and solid and unchanging. And it's the prism through which we experience the Psalm that makes it deeper and deeper and deeper and more connected to God. So it is a journey itself of staying in relationship with the Psalms.
So this is really a process. I mean, this whole Psalm, it's part of like
and that's what Jewish study is. That's what Jewish study is. And the Psalms have a particular texture to them because they're there for us to dive in and develop a relationship. But I promise you'll see it differently. And I bet you for those of you who have been in the class over the whole time, you've seen things change even in how you relate to a Psalm or even a different Psalm. Because of what you've learned, all of a sudden things get, and that's what's the fun of it. It's really just sheer exhilarating fun. Even when it's painful, even when it brings up because wow, you have a new way to understand and express yourself in your relationship to God and to the human experience and to being the imperfect humans we all are.
And it's very therapeutic. I really see it as a therapeutic thing.
Well, yeah, as a therapist, that's wonderful. Right. As a rabbi, I find it very spiritual. So there you go. It's again, if we reflect our own experience.
Thank you.
But whatever the language you use, I hope it deepens the world for us, and it deepens us, and it deepens our sense of connectedness, whether it's therapeutic or spiritual or whatever word you use.
I hope God really is carrying me.
Yes, and I hope that, is that a Rosie the Riveter bandana?
I found it. I said, oh,
Very
I
nice,
like that
very
ribbon.
nice.
All right. Thank you so much, Marilyn. We now move on to Jack Neiman.
The Justice of Hamakom, inspired by Psalm 17, a prayer for David. Hamakom, alert your ear to my offering. My psalmic poems pour forth pure, awaiting a just assessment. From you, my justice will come in an open court, my virtue in plain sight. From twilight to dawn, I rest soundly, peacefully, no apostasy, comporting with your word. No barbarous bands lull me sideways down a perfidious abyss with their boisterous crush and prehensile clutch, but steady gait, stalwart stance. Hamakom, alert your ear to my offering, to my plea for justice, whose wheels, said to turn slowly, grind exceedingly fine. Where are my rewards for adhering to your every command? Your faithful saved from destruction, warmly wrapped in times past, where are you now? Hamakom, favor me, shelter me from murderous, marauding insurgents whose cold stone hearts, lips hot, howling hate, feet marching traitorous paths, hunt me locked and glocked, surveilling a weak misstep to fell me as a prize, a trophy. Save me, quell my enveloping foes, secure me with your assuring armor. Shelter, nourish, and replenish with blessings all generations seeking justice. Hamakom, alert your ear to my dedicated offering, for you are eternally before me, Shiviti.
Wow, Jack. Talk to us.
We had some discussions in the, I don't know how to say that word, Shavrutam, what is it?
Chavruta.
Kavruta. And so for me, it was like these images that kept playing over and over in, on the news were just horrifying. And each time they were more horrifying until I couldn't watch them anymore. It just was like, okay, it's too much. It's too much. I liked Levy the best of all of these, I think. And I think that kind of, that was the format that I was trying to follow. And I was really angry when I wrote this. Because, it's like, and then I can't remember that lovely lady's name who was the doctor who was on the, who gave us the thing the other night about the COVID.
Regina Linder.
Regina, I was in one of those with Regina, and she said, we're wearing the masks, we're social distancing, we're doing all the right things.
Yeah.
And so like, where do we get the reward?
Yeah.
It's like, when is it our turn?
Yeah. Tell us about
Larry,
Hamakom. You've discussed that before, but talk about Hamakom as why that works for you, for the word for God.
Yes, because it's like the place, the everything, the presence. It kind of when I think of Hamakom, I think everything. It's like the flower, the trees, the everything of creation. It's the presence. That's how I see it.
Yeah, it's one of the beautiful, and by the way, that goes back to my locket of mem. Remember, for those of you who remember, makom, the word makom means place, and it's a locative mem there at the beginning of that word, but Hamakom, the place, is one of the beautiful names of God. There are many, many, many names for God in Judaism, which is why the word God is so limiting. That just closes us off. And using different words for that, whatever that is, I think opens things up. So that's beautiful, Jack. Thank you.
The one
And
thing
yeah, don't we want to shelter me from these murderers? Because don't you know, watching those pictures, if they could get at any one of us,
yeah,
what would happen to us? Yeah, it's pretty scary.
the one expression I learned living here we call it the gunshine state.
Oh my God. Yeah.
It's true. Is they hunt me locked and glocked. I mean, people actually
Unbelievable.
use those terms. It's like you have your Glock, it's a gun,
Yeah.
and which means I'm ready. You know,
Jeez.
it's horrifying.
It's horrifying. So by the way, I don't know, do we have any Dutch speakers in our group? Just as a random question. In Dutch, and I can't obviously pronounce it in the Dutch way of pronouncing it, you know, Dutch Jews lived in Holland for many, many, many years. In fact, one of the oldest Jewish communities in Europe, and certainly it is the Dutch community. There's not much of it left, of course, because of the Nazis and assimilation before and emigration. But Dutch was very influenced by trading. You know, the Dutch West Indies Company was a big trading company, and Jewish traders in the medieval time, Holland was. So the Dutch word for Amsterdam itself is makom, some Dutch version of that word. If you ask a Dutch person that word, but pronounced a little differently, I can't quite get it. Because they took the word makom for place to mean the place, meaning Amsterdam. So it's still, so that's pretty interesting, huh?
Rabbi, it's Amsterdam is Mokum Aleph, and I think
Mokum.
Rotterdam is Mokum Bet.
Rotterdam is Mokum.
Yeah.
So, but it's from the Hebrew word
Yeah,
makom, which is fascinating, huh?
And non-Jews use it too.
What?
Non-Jews use it too.
Yeah,
Mokum.
yeah. Oh, yeah. It means Dutch.
It's like the Big Apple. It's their name.
It's the word in Dutch for Amsterdam. I didn't know that for Rotterdam, but yeah. I didn't mean that Jews use it. I meant it is the Dutch word internally when they're talking to each other about Amsterdam. They just say, how do you pronounce it, Shep? How do they say it? Makom? Mokum? Whatever. Mokum. Some version of makom.
Yeah, but same shoresh.
Same shoresh, exactly. They consider it a Dutch word now.
Wow. All right. Monica Raymond.
Can you hear me?
There's another word in German. Well, that's a whole other topic, but Harold will kill me. Let's go, Monica. Yes, let's hear you.
Brother, after Psalm 17. Psalmist, I view you across a gap of time. Who would be so innocent now as to say they're godless? Who would say their tongue and heart and their every part have been tested and serve only good? Who hasn't heard of Jung and Freud, licentious, unconscious, and integrating the shadow? If you don't acknowledge you're stained and tarnished, frankly, I find it hard to believe you. And not with original sin, nothing so dark and dramatic, but just with daily pettiness and insufficiencies, anger and error. And whose enemies these days are so clear-cut as yours, fat cats, lions in wait. Now it's more bureaucratic glitch, slow line at the post office, arrogant supervisor, bored girlfriend. Our enemies were our friends yesterday. Scroll, there's more.
Oops, sorry.
Keep going.
Yeah, keep going. Mm-hmm.
Still, there is one way in which you are my brother. Like you, I would love to be shielded from rancor and terror by a force so solid and true, it brooks no interference, which holds me close under fronds like a child under osiers of willow, or an artichoke heart embedded in spiky leaves.
Wow, Monica, there's so much in here. Speak to us.
Well, I mean, I think it's pretty literal. I actually wrote this in the half hour before the deadline.
Deadlines are a good thing because
They're really good. I mean, I've been thinking about it, but it just forced it out of me. And I can't imagine having a posture of like, I've been tested and there's nothing that's wrong in me. And, that's unbelievable to me. And so it just feels like from a different world, really. But the part I could relate to is, that need to be sheltered and held and connected. I felt like that spoke across 2,500 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Could you scroll down a little bit, Harold? This is now about enemies. Stop there. I love this imagery. Now it's more bureaucratic glitch. Slow lines at the post office. Oi, Gewalt, don't we know what that is like? That feels like we're being tortured. Arrogant supervisor, bored girlfriend are just so powerful. Sorry about the hospital stuff. So powerful. And exactly right. React to a psalm and say, I reject this. That's okay. That is totally engaged, just to stay engaged and to say, but this one piece, yeah, this means something to me. So beautiful, 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 Monica.
Thank you.
Happy to have this. Fantastic.
Thank you. Julie Raynor.
Here I am.
There are a lot of ambulances today. I'm very sorry. I'm keep trying to keep it on mute as much as I can.
After Stephen Mitchell, Psalm 17. O Lord, do you hear me crying out in the dark? My mind scours disaster, past, future, death. Focus my breath deep, steady, in my body. I am here. Let me let go. Let me fall into your arms. Peace now, forever. Like the beloved pupil of your eye, keep me in the shadow of thy wings and cloak me in your velvet mercy. Rock me to sleep. And in the light, lift me awake to see the mirror of your face, your loving gaze.
Beautiful. So yeah, we didn't get to study Mitchell as a group, but clearly Mitchell spoke to you personally. So speak to us now about writing this.
Thank you. Yes, he did. I love Stephen Mitchell's translations of so many works. It was a lovely thing to spend hours on this on Monday in the snowstorm. After a particularly difficult couple of weeks, I felt a real connection to this psalm in this stark experience that it was for me in reaching out for that connection and comfort. And I followed his structure except for the last tercet. I wanted to keep that iconic stanza about the shadow of thy wings. But otherwise it seemed to go into its own place. So I'm still working on it actually, even though I spent about 4 hours on it on Monday. I try to give myself some days. And I was so glad the deadline had been extended because I hadn't written anything for a few Psalms, and I do really love this one. Thank you.
And the beginning is so direct, so simple, so clear. Oh Lord, do you hear me crying out in the dark? That's the human cry. And then how many of us can experience this or relate to this? My mind scours disaster, past, future, death. That's in that these very short, these very simple, these very terse word sentences and verses capture so much. Really, really gorgeous. Thank you, Julie.
All right, Lynn is not here, and I will give an assurance to the readers who've not yet gone yet, that if we need to take some time tomorrow morning to finish that up, we will do that rather than rushing through these.
Lynn is
Oh, Lynn
here.
is here. Lynn is
Oh,
here.
Lynn's here, Lynn is here, sorry.
Because Lynn is hiding behind Sally.
I was missing.
We're looking at the names on the participant list. That's why. Sorry.
My mistake, sorry. No worries.
It's okay. Lynn is behind that Sally Kopstein name.
Lynn Rosenbluth, would you please step forward to read your offering?
Shadows are complicated. In a quiet voice. They come in many different shades. Sometimes they are sharp and defined. Sometimes they are ephemeral. For some, they come at 5 o'clock. Shadows can eclipse us, in doubt, exonerate us. They may follow us wherever we go, but they do not walk in our footsteps. Sometimes they are long, sometimes short. Sometimes they are absent. They can frighten us, even our own. Sometimes they overlap mine and yours. Sometimes they are what is left of myself. We may believe they're where evil lurks or where safety lies. Shadows are about light and dark. They are cast reflections of what, not who we are. They contain our silence and memories. Artists portray them. Shadows are fickle. Finite in life, they are timeless. When you lift your wings, there too is shadow. There too am I.
What a fantastic reflection on shadows. That what to lift that out of the psalm and to explore it. I love that. Talk to us, Lynn.
Well, I'll tell you, when I read the psalm and we looked at it in class, I asked myself, would I give myself permission if I was in such need or had such fear to seek that shadow place? Would I do that? Or would I be, as I often am, I can do it myself. I can take care of it. I'm all right.
Yeah.
So that let me think a little bit about the whole concept of a shadow. Like, what is it? And, you know, the interpretations we read don't say that we're under, I don't know, his wing, but in the shadow of the wing. Is that out of respect that we don't get too close? You know, I understand that.
Great question.
Is it to make room for other people along with us? So that's how I got hung up on the shadow.
Yeah. Well, this is, first of all, as an example, this is a fantastic example of taking a one word, a 2-letter word of the entire psalm and exploring that. Great. That's a great way to go. And look where you've gone with that. Look how you've gone in a quiet voice. They come in very different shades, sharp and defined. It brings us to a whole other level about this one word, which it's like you could go across, or you arrived at this word and you went deep. And how much that teaches us about life and death, about God, and about our human experience. Beautiful, Lynn, really beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing this.
Ben Shaffrin will have you go next.
Can we make that a little larger?
Yes,
Please?
we can.
Thank
Surely this is a joke. The rabbi said write, and obediently I write. The rabbi said you take, and unbeknownst out they pour. Feelings suppressed, longings denied, rush out tumbling like waters for Moses' rug. Dancing in the sunlight, evaporating in the heat, not quenching the thirst.
Ben, this is so moving. Talk to us.
This is a cry of sheer frustration. I was brought up in an Orthodox household, And when I was young, the Psalms were very meaningful to me. I walked away from the faith as a teenager and only came back in the last year or so. I've joined this class from day one, hoping to recapture that feeling that I had for the Psalms. And after 17 Psalms, I'm more envious of what the class offerings are. Look at what happened today. Bernstein or Fisher. I just can't relate to the original text. And that's what that last line is. It's not coming.
But you do relate to the personal offerings?
Yes, very much. I love them.
Fantastic.
I mean, I've wrote about 8 personal offerings
Yes,
myself.
I know. Yeah. So it's a different way into it is through community.
Yeah.
You know how Buber said there are different accesses to God. One is the creative process and the other is in relationship, the I-thou relationship with people. And maybe the best expression of godliness or of psalmliness is in the other psalms and not in the originals for you. And that's very powerful. I'm so happy you're in this class, Ben.
Thank you.
You bring a lot. You bring a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to share Yael Bat Chava's thing in chat right now. I can't relate to the original text either. It's only through other people's offerings that I can make meanings out of them. Which shows the power of what we are doing here. So I'm going to pull this down. Alice Sales, we will go on until tomorrow. Alice, I just wanted to make sure that you are available to read tomorrow. I don't want to cut anyone off.
Okay, sure.
All right.
You're saying wait till tomorrow. Yeah.
I don't want to rush it if we're going into tomorrow because we have more, we have several left.
Okay.
So thank you. So we will do the rest of the offerings tomorrow, and then the rabbi and I have some other things to give you tomorrow. We don't know quite what they are, but we will find something special to give you with the rest of the rest of your time. Rabbi, any last words?
These were just so moving today. So moving. Thank you, everybody. And I just wanted to let folks know that for today, and I didn't get a chance before because we were in a little bit of a Purim mode, but I was studying today that Rita Fisher has been hospitalized with COVID this morning.
No.
And so we are all praying for her. Michael and Jay ask people not to contact them. They're overwhelmed. They don't want people reaching out even to say hello. So please, please respect that. Okay, so don't think you're in a different category. I've been given very strict instructions. So do not reach out to Michael and Jay. Okay, folks? But I ask everybody to pray for Rita. We're looking up her Hebrew name. I don't have it right now. And the synagogue has sent her stuff today and we're in touch. So just to let everybody know to keep her in your prayers, to say Tehillim. And one, spiritual discipline, if for those who are interested, now that we've studied a chunk of them, and I asked you to do it for one weekend, to see how it feels to either every day or choose a day a week, or maybe on the days we don't have class, whatever works for you, to recite all of the Psalms we've studied together as a chunk. You could start by saying you're doing this in honor of somebody or in memory of somebody or in honor of somebody's recovery. And just sit down with whatever version you have, read through in Hebrew, if you're a Hebrew reader, in English, and you'll be surprised if you do that as a discipline, what happens to the rhythm of it. Just to read through, not to study, not to do what we're doing, to recite. And we pray for, she is in the hospital for those of you from Florida, not that you can go, nobody can go to the hospital, but so that those in Florida have an image of it, that for those who know, I have no idea. It's the Westside Regional Medical Facility in Plantation, Florida. So let's just keep her in our prayers. And again, please do not contact Jay and Michael, and continue staying Psalms when you have nothing else that is adequate to respond to the world in which we live or the life that we have. Wonderful to be studying with all of you. I'm so deeply moved by all of your offerings, and they change the Psalms for me. So today is Wednesday, is that right?
Yes.
So we
Karen?
have class tomorrow on Thursday, so I'll see everybody tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you,
bye-bye,
Rabbi.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Rabbi.
The room can stay open for just a couple of minutes, then we'll have to close it.
Thank you.
Plantation, Florida is about 40 minutes north of where I am, from Miami Beach. It's not far, near Fort Lauderdale.
You can't go visit.
When I was living in Sunrise, that was neighbors with Rita for a while. And so Plantation is the next city
Yeah.
south of Sunrise. Wow, very sad.
Yes, very sad. Marilyn, are you still there? Yes.
But wait, just please, not
I
longer.
loved your song. Thank
I
you.
wrote you
Thanks so
something.
much. How did you figure out the
Everyone
perm
receive,
thing? I
uh,
came
Peter's
on very
letter?
late.
Feeling
The filter?
Yeah.
the
You go